2.
Back.
And we're back. Part 2.
Yes, that's the one. So yeah, I went a little tangent about Sonic. I had to stop myself because that's
No, it's fair. I loved the point you made before that Sega was. No, in the past you mentioned that Sega was a company that was so far ahead of its time on modem gaming, online DLC. That's a Sonic Adventure thing, the actual creating
yeah,
more content and being able to download it to your console. So far ahead of it. And occasionally, I think Nintendo has come great strides. They've done some amazing things. But just imagine how far ahead Sega would be, what their cutting edge would be at this time.
yeah.
I mean, we would be looking at holodeck stuff, early, chunky,
Yeah.
wireframe, but man, they would be so far ahead of it. And again, that's kind of their, I'm not going to say hubris, but that was part of their downfall. They pushed so far ahead, they couldn't sustain themselves, which was a shame because,
you need serious money for that stuff. I wish Sonic
yeah,
and Microsoft claim to have.
well, I do know. When I was younger, I reveled in Sega's downfall because I was a Nintendo guy. I was part of the classic console wars.
Yeah.
But now I'm older and wiser. I understood that a company needs challenge. A company needs competition to keep it honest, to keep it viable.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
since Sega left, the game and Sony and Microsoft stepped in, Nintendo has never really tried to challenge them. They've tried to wall themselves off and go, yeah, we're the family friendly one. We're the fun one. And then Microsoft and Sony have been constantly competing. Who's got the more powerful console? What's got the newest advancements?
Mhm.
Nintendo hasn't done that. Nintendo's gone, how do we make this fun? The last time they actually had a competition was Sega. Sega
Yeah.
was all about making their games fun. Sony and Microsoft, they're playing a different game. But would have been
Yeah.
nice to have Sega stay in the game to keep my Nintendo focused.
Bro, I mean, I love you saying I'm a little bit like bro these days. That's very wrong, bro. So I don't know, my wife's been saying about but anyway, so dude, um, this is it. Something about Sony is the closest thing to Sega since Sega left. At least Sony came from Japan. Um, and so it's not more of a present. Sony became the Sega in that. If you think about it, the name is Sega. It's like Sonic. Sonic means sound. Sony is like Sonic. It's like a in your face kind of or subtle way of saying Sony is Sonic. It means sonar. Anyway, so that's just me just trying to keep them alive. In my mind, it's like the successor or like a reincarnation. But in any case, the parts that Sega brought is nothing like, and that's why Sonic is still kicking it today. And
It was definitely a
so,
product of the West. I mean, just his attitude. Yo,
yeah,
radical, gotta go fast. Very, very Western. Product of the West. But you know what? That's fine. There's a lot of Western characters who, go great. Right. But yes, Mike's going back to the video. We're going to go jump back in.
it's the man.
Sound.
And
And yes,
yeah,
the next Mario game is going to be open world. Let's look at his thoughts.
Boxes, almost literally in the case of the desert world. The only thing left to
so
do
even
is
that
remove the
was the second.
seams and
My fan is super noisy. Do you want to turn it down? It's not take it anymore. It's gonna be pretty hot in here, but just run it. There you go.
Ah, the burdens of living in a tropical island.
Yeah, even though it's bloody winter.
Even then, yeah, it's like Australia when it hits our summer and it's their winter. They're like, "Oh God, it's only 2 degrees below perfect surfing weather." Oh no! Right,
Oh my
continuing.
yes. Yeah.
stitch all the mini sandboxes together. So if you fall down a bottomless pit in the icy mountain zone, you just wind up in Cambodian jungle zone or whatever. On top of that, Nintendo already dipped a toe in Mario Open Worlds with Bowser's Fury, the packing bonus
mentioned
for
it.
3D World Switch port. That's definitely had stealth pilot vibes. Zelda's already had 2 full-on go-anywhere sandboxes, and Sonic's had one as well, in the form of Sonic Frontiers. The proofs of concept are there, and surely there is no world in which Nintendo will tolerate Sonic having something over Mario for long, so the Mario Open World has got to happen but sooner or later. Question is,
We've
what would
had
be
this
the new central
previous
gameplay
situation,
gimmick?
even though-
That's tougher to speculate on. I don't think any of us predicted Mario Odyssey's gimmick, Mario turning into a fucking brain-eating parasite. For want of a random prediction, they already did the magic hat, so I think next it'll be magic overalls that can transform into any of the suits from previous
Yes.
Mario games, like the frog suit or raccoon
This guy
suit,
is
that offer different
funny as
movement
hell.
abilities.
I love that idea. I love that idea. Just give us the old suits from previous games, having the ability to
Oh, yeah.
instead of taking control of characters within the environment, which is brilliant. You're in the jungle, take control of the jungle creatures, but just give us a nostalgic look back on the classic games. The frog
Absolutely.
suit, the tanuki suit, all the older abilities. I mean, if they even introduced half of the things they did in Galaxy, spring suit, bee suit, cloud suit, man, that is potential. And then you've got fire flower and ice flower. Come on, they showed off the ice flower in the movie.
Exactly. So isn't you know I think what happens is with games as we know, with anything pop culture, there's peaks and troughs, So there comes that moment when they have to say, all right, we've gone down in nostalgia so much, but we need to deliberately go away from that. So a bit like remember this. I'm gonna say it's the same, but Futurama in Slurms, Private the Slurms factory, and then they're thinking about taking making what is it, Fry or Lila?
They wanted to turn Fry and Leela into Queen Slurms, so they would produce new Slurm, and it would be
Which is
terrible.
gross.
So then they would introduce classic Slurm. Yeah, that's a good business tactic.
Yeah,
Right?
of course.
But
I'm not calling Mario Slurm, but, but in a
but
manner
no,
of
no,
speaking.
I get what you're trying to say because I do agree that culture moves like a pendulum. It has peaks and troughs. It sways forwards and backwards. You get one thing happens, you get an outrage, and you get outrage to the outrage. But
Yeah,
the
exactly.
last Mario game was fairly progressive. Terrible choice of words. Sorry, it was fairly new. It was a new worlds and a new concept, and there wasn't a huge amount of Easter eggs. There were some, but not a huge amount beyond the same enemies and Koopa or Bowser. So I like the idea of harking back, like, oh, this is a brand new console, this is a big new world, there's lots of new things, but we're giving you a taste of what came before. Like, imagine if each
Yeah,
world you could access had its own suit. So if you needed to find an item in one world, you had to go back to that previous world, grab an item, and make your way back. Like in a big open world game, like Zelda, you've got to go
that's
get
a
the
Zelda.
pieces and the things, and then you've got to use them elsewhere, and it makes the whole place feel like a living, breathing environment.
Definitely.
Oh, and
The other
Mario
one.
3, he had a chest, he could collect items and then he could use them
Mm,
when he went to new areas. Why not just do that? Just give him his own chest like an RPG character. He goes around, collects a few items, humps them into the chest, and then when he goes to the new area, what will work? This won't. No, I'll try this.
yeah,
But
I
again,
think that's
one hit is gone.
yeah. I think
Classic
that's also
Mario rules.
is it just like Ghouls and Ghosts shooting the armor.
Yeah.
Although
So
that's very
it's a
different.
it's a skill thing.
Yeah. So I think
I,
that's what they're gonna do. I think it's clear that's what they're gonna do because they've gone. I guess they went so far away from that with Odyssey, but by giving you something so new, now is the time for the slowest classic touch. But,
I'd like that to happen. I'd like to go back and be able to play with some of the older things because the new console is a safe bet. It's like you said, a souped up Switch Pro is the new console. It looks like the classic Switch, it plays like the classic Switch, but it's just got a lot more oomph, a bit more welly in its engine.
yeah. Mm.
So that's a safe bet. People love the Switch. It's got a massive library. The new one can play all the old stuff and play the new stuff. Done. Sold.
Yeah.
Shut
That's
up and take my money.
a game like what you described, we represent that. It's got a touch of we're bringing the stuff back that you love, but we've got the new. So Nintendo got about ask themselves. It's a bit like they don't want to outshine the new so much to the point where you create new suits, but everybody wants the new pieces. It's like,
Yeah.
but come on, we made this new feature.
Yeah.
It's really pleased.
Having a few new features is fine, but I think they're not going to want to rock the boat at the beginning because we are in a political instability time. People are financially struggling right now, So they're going to want people to want to pick it up. One of the reasons one of the reasons the Switch was so popular was because its first 6 months, they were bam, 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 throwing out bangers, really encourage people to pick it up. So they're going to want to try and encourage people to pick this new console. I mean, especially if the new one plays the old stuff, why do I need the new one? You've got to offer some
Right.
new stuff. You've got to offer something that's worth playing, and a game that not only appeals to people who want a great new powerful game, but also want to appeal to the classic gamers. To nostalgia to help ease them into that new thing and encourage them. Oh, you remember this? It's back. Oh, I liked that. Yo, I'll go for it. Get
Exactly.
as big a market as possible. I think this is a safe bet. I think it open world is almost a guarantee. Whether we get the old costumes, I want it. Don't know of how realistic it would be, but for traversal makes sense.
It's funny because look at that. Remember we saw the Switch 2 trailer. Look at that Mario Kart that they had. How
The
big the
Mario
world
Kart looks good. Yeah, is it
was.
massive draw distance? Could be massive open world. I like the idea of big tracks that have multiple paths. You know, it,
Mm, I think
but
so. I
it,
think this is what
well,
made
in
it.
a lot of people speculating about the Mario Kart, highlighting the fact that there are 24 starting points. I mean, this is a big, big
Big old
game.
shit.
It's just
Mm,
so many more drivers, which means that you can have a diverse set of tracks, and there's
mm,
enough drivers taking each path that you still get that kind of competitive battling that Mario Kart thrives upon. It's not a racing game; it's a party game with a
mm.
driving element. The goal is to fight your friends. It isn't to get ahead of them and then win. Yeah, the winning is nice, but the goal is to screw over your friends, to banana shell them, to blue shell them. That's the point of the game. So more people means bigger tracks. And I don't think a single big track is going to work. I think multiple tracks would work better. Split that pack and then have them come back together periodically.
See about that. I mean, I think they want to try both, and they want to give the audience a chance to react because some people are going to be curious about what would happen if we did something different for a change versus the many level Mario Karts. We've got many of those Mario Karts, but there's so many cups and so many.
Yeah. The Mario Cup will be fine. It'll be classic tracks. It'll be the games the tracks we know and love, or at least the style. But there's going to be maybe a track in most of the cups that's a little bit varied, and then as it gets harder, though, you'll get more and more of them. Um,
Mm,
but again, that making a track like that is going to be insanely difficult because you're going to need to allow for shortcuts. You can't allow one path to be superior to the others. There have to be benefits to
balance.
all. You have if someone on the
Yeah.
lower track must have a chance to win. Otherwise, it's not a
Mm.
Mario game.
That's it, isn't it? It's just
But
like wacky races, but stop the pigeon. Yeah.
yeah, see that kind of thing.
Mm.
And that was a great show. Right, moving
Here we
along.
go.
So his first prediction is open world Mario. I think that's a safe bet. Second
Yeah.
one, this is at left field. I don't think this is going to happen, but holy hell, I would love it to happen.
And there'll be two big cartoon eyes on it right over Mario's bollocks.
Not that, not that. I don't want that.
Prediction number 2. There will be a 3D Mario Maker. Mario Maker was one of the few success stories from the Wii U. It was capitalizing on the desire to make our own classic Mario levels that has been served by numerous shoddy ROM hacking tools over the years. The sequel, Mario Maker 2, didn't do much more than port the whole concept to the Switch. And since that's a leap that can't be made a second time, a third Mario Maker game would need a pretty significant shift to draw the eyeballs. So considering that the earliest 3D Marios are now easily old enough to be benefiting from the same nostalgia that sustained Mario Maker 1, Mario Maker 3D seems like a logical next step. My colleagues think I'm out on more of a limb with this one. After all, Mario Maker's strength was being easy and intuitive to use, and working in 3D space instead of 2D makes things exponentially more complicated, in accordance with the square cube law. Dreams on the PS4 helped teach us what a huge pain in the arse it is 3D modeling with a game controller. Well, there have been unsubstantiated rumors that Nintendo are thinking about some kind of mouse support for the Switch 2, which would help, but my thinking is, we're not asking for a full-on 3D modeling and programming suite here, just something you can use to make Mario levels. And to that end, why not just make it grid-based, where you place replace all terrain in the form of tessellating cubes. The kids these days have played enough Minecraft to be able to pick that up pretty easily. Add a little simple pathfinding system for moving and rotating platforms, drop Mario in with his standard Mario 64 control suite, and bam! We can easily make no end of isolated platforming challenges like the floodless levels from Mario Sunshine, and then smash them all up with a big hammer to finally get proxy revenge on the floodless levels from Mario Sunshine. And there's one more thing to be said for the idea, that if they do make another Mario Maker, it would be called Mario Maker 3. And what better opportunity to go 3D than when there's already a 3 in the name?
Yeah.
Clearly it's an idea whose time has come. I mean, this is exactly what the Jason movies did, and don't tell me you're above that.
Yeah,
Is my mic working?
yours is working
I was
fine.
saying pause, but
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear. Yeah, I didn't hear. Yes,
yeah,
I think it's a great idea. I just don't see it happening.
But here's the thing, look, you know, like I said, I've been people out there, for those of you who know, because I'm a game teacher also. I've been teaching for months now, kids to make 3D worlds and use Minecraft and so on. And it's not, kids not take to Minecraft like a duck out of water. Now, when it comes to the Mario Minecraft, yeah, I mean, kids take that too. The thing is, that's what the Minecraft is supposed to be. They wanted to make a 3D. When I looked at it, they were trying to make a 3D Mario Maker, but they thought the concept is not simple enough. If I made a game like a Mario Maker clone, and I gave it to my kids to play, and they really love it. I didn't fully make it. I mean, I kind of remixed the Scratch title, and yeah, it's so intuitive. Kids and just play it for hours. Like, no, this thing's now I see why. Of course, when Nintendo fully did this whole thing, they probably had kids in the test room and gave them this project and said, make a Mario game, and they realized it's there for 3 hours or so, and it's so addictive. And I use it to try and teach like words in English and so on, but to do that in 3D, I was like, you can need something on Minecraft. I'm like, oh yeah, Nintendo done that already with the Mario Minecraft. Minecraft naturally looks a bit of an ugly game for certainly for people like who's put that light eyes on it for the first time. But if you can take what you started with Minecraft and do a Mario thing, like you say, probably who knows, maybe will happen. One way I think it could happen is if you, I mean, just think about your Mario 3D Land. This is why there's so many different 3D Mario games. It's like they're trying to think, what's the perfect 3D Mario formula that a kid could make a level with? You think you got 3D Land, you got Odyssey, you got Galaxy, you got 64, because the whole thing. 3D Land is probably the clearest Mario concept. Make a 3D world Mario game. Except that if you do something about that world that it's supposed to be a break away from the 2D image. The 3D Mario world is supposed to be, I don't think it's something they want to bastardize yet, if that makes sense. That they want to make it seem like, yeah, Mario 2D, yeah, whatever. Make any 2D Mario game you want. We're in 3D now. And that's for the professionals to design. You kids can make 2D games if you want. Minecraft, whatever. It's not even on IP. But when it comes to the 3D world, we want to make that special. Now, I mean, this is me just playing devil's advocate as to why that wouldn't work. Because maybe Nintendo want to keep the 3D look of Mario kind of like oh, only we can design perfect 3D levels. But it makes sense. I mean, so far the Switch too looks like a Switch. Some of the games look like they're just it's just a pro level version of many games. A 3D Mario Maker would be the first kind of something that looks like something new. But I didn't see the direct kit or anything, so I don't know. Anyway, Dan, what are your thoughts?
Well, he mentioned something during his pitch with this idea, and he said it would be grid-based, so simple blocks, and instead of just going left and right, up and down, there's depth to it all of a sudden. And with so many people being so proficient in Minecraft and so comfortable with that kind of grid-based system, we really know even young kids can get their head around this quickly and easily. So why not do this? And he highlighted it would be like the floodless levels in Mario Sunshine. So just going to share you the screen. Whoop. Do you remember? You played Mario Sunshine?
For a few seconds.
Yeah, so it's the one with the flood. One with he's on a tropical island, El Delfino, and he's got to clean up. And the enemies are all kind of gunk and poison based. And he goes to a level and he's got to use this flood to traverse larger and larger barriers. So Mario 64 had its 3D environment, being able to traverse the environment with jumps and flips and whatnot. And then this one was the idea of the flood was to give you more mobility, jump higher, move faster, go further. But there were a number of floodless levels.
So jump higher and faster. I thought that's real on the ground.
So look at this level. It's not too complex. It's just a series of geometric shapes in a 3D environment doing simple patterns. But
yeah, the only thing I know reminds me of two things that reminds me of isometric view and Crash Bandicoot.
Exactly. So you're able to move around in 3D space, but you don't have massive freedom of movement within it. But they aren't worlds. You aren't creating whole environments. You're creating a series of platform challenges. And then, obviously, as you get more versed and better at using these grids and being able to program them to make patterns, you can be able to make more conflicting patterns, and people will get better. I mean, have you seen some of the later Mario Maker levels? Even now, people are still producing them, and some of them are cuckoo bananas. They are just crazy. You have to be pitch perfect, but they are playable. And I think this is a natural progression. I think this would be a really clever move because it would give people the ability to create these simple environments. And then if you're good at that, if there's a market for it, people are enjoying doing this, creating their own platforming challenges. I mean, you must have seen some of the amazing feats people did in Odyssey. Make massive shortcuts with jump through the air and then bounce off the hat and then hit the wall and then jump off that. Just give those speed freak crazies their own game. They're able to make their own insane platform challenges, but instead of it being 2D, now they can make a 3D one. They're not going to make a game. They're not going to make a world, but they are going to make some kind of insane, diabolical Rubik's cube style challenge. And man, how many people would just sit there watching these guys just traversing it?
That's right. With this layout, of course, it can be done. I think, and all you need to sell it is to call it Mario Maker 3D or something. And what you need to do is that you need to not make it 3D only. It needs to have 3D level options. If you just do it 3D only, some people say, this sucks. I want to play Mario Maker 2. Whereas if you say, no, this is better because it's 2D and you can do 3D, then people they would think.
They would have the only way they'd be able to do that is if they just ported over or like copied over the mechanics from the first two games because they kind of pitch perfect got it right last time. But I do want the game to be mostly 3D because I want them to dedicate a lot of time and energy to making sure the mechanics, the systems of producing the levels is consistent. Because there's going to be bugs. There's going to, well, once you have two colliding objects, what happens? When you have one object that goes in through another object, once you go 3D, the like the square cube law, it's just, once you go up by one size in 3D, the complications go 3 times more. One cube, 1 by 1 is 1, 2 by 2 is 4. 3 by 3 is 9. You just exponentially compound the amount of problems, the amount of volume that you're dealing with, and that's what's going to happen. The moment they start doing 3D, I like the idea. I just don't think it's really feasible. I think it's going to be too difficult to program an accessible UI, an accessible system that will allow someone, even if they were using the Joy-Con as a mouse, to effectively produce it. I think that's why I mentioned it's going to be good for the speed runners, because those are people who would put the time and the energy in to get good at it. But it won't have the accessibility of Mario Maker 2, because that's just pick it up and you're instantly able to produce levels, So I like the idea. I just don't think it's feasible.
Remember I said it also reminds me of Zelda, and that thing uses isometric views. If you lay out tile style the same way, but with an isometric grid view, where it's like fake 3D, and then you go ahead and play it, and then all of a sudden it transforms to actual 3D, and then you should keep the dimensions quite consistent as long as you use that Zelda format. Like this is where the pool is, this is where the mountain is. As far as height is concerned, I think there are ways to pull it off. If you use the same 2D lore that you, I mean LAW, not a lot of lore, but that you use with Mario Maker, the 2D version, I think it's possible. If you use the Zelda Legend, Link to the Past grid plan, which it may feel a bit like Mario 3D Land or Sonic 3D and so on. But again,
Why not? It's supposed to be nostalgic. Why not just lean into the classics? You know, the Mario Maker 3D will be based around Mario 64. You know, it doesn't have to be more than that. Maybe you could polish up the
yeah,
graphics a little bit, make it look like one of these flood levels, but it's not going to be more complicated than that. It
mm,
can't be for what it is. If you want the ability to change everything, it's game was going to have to be massive. So,
ah,
we're not talking about big thing. We're talking about simple, isolated environments. Put in a bit of color coding, color shading from Mario 64. Give them a Mario 64 move set. Yeah, people are
true,
familiar
true.
with it, comfortable, and it's nothing too advanced. If it works, if they release it and it's popular and it's people do buy it and produce levels, then then iterate on it. That's what they did with the
Mm,
first one. The first one was good, and the second one they added a whole bunch more stuff you could do because it was proof of concept. The first one was
mm,
successful, so they knew that they could sell it again. Three is a big ask, but if it sells, then start talking about more games, more abilities. Just make it bare bones the first time. Just give them the basic abilities, basic production
mm.
abilities. The editing suite doesn't have to be that big, but it, I think it will appeal to enough people that they will be able to iterate.
That's true. Yeah, yeah. It's got. If you start small, you start small. Just yeah, the Mario Maker 1 compared to Mario Maker 2, it starts small and maybe make the focus not so much the 3D, but make it the story. Maybe I don't know. Does it make it give it a cute little theme or something to distract you from how bare bones it is? Let's say, it could
Ah,
maybe get legs. Like you need a lot of testing, which I'm sure Nintendo have already invested time and money in. And yeah, speaking of big projects, by the way, that concept of a open world Mario, my mind is always maybe it's a bit of an autistic thing of mine, but my mind is always jumping. So Mark always says, to Nintendo's bigger portfolio. The movie and the museum and the theme park. And I'm just thinking, I wonder if we did like political campaigns. I wonder if we're dealing with a bit of a distraction here. Everybody's looking at the Switch and thinking, what's different? But next thing you know, they say, by the way, you can use this at the theme park. Or by the way, you can use this at the museum. Or by the way, in the movie, guess what? If you have this, it's going to mean something to the movie experience or something. You see, if you or some sort of little wearable device like the watches, which didn't turn up, according to Professor Zudica, turn up to just be watches. Oh no, she didn't get one. Sorry, don't worry. So who
well,
knows?
they
Maybe
they
there's
did a
something
wearable
secret.
technology before. They with Pokemon, there was the Poke Walker. It was a small belt looped little Pokeball. That what you could do was download a Pokemon from your game onto the walker and then take that out and about. And it was basically a step counter. So as you walked around, it counted the steps and you were gaining experience. Your Pokemon would level up and would get stronger as you went along. Plus you could find the Pokemon out and about could find items. And then when you upload it, when you synced it back to your console, your game, boom, he's a little bit stronger, not much, but a little bit. But he might have found a rare item. Oh, and he gives you the item. And it's that kind of, yeah, that's generations ago. That's handheld. That's before even before the 3DS's time.
Well,
But
look,
the
I'm
idea
wondering
is
on.
sound. The idea is there. Just give us something we can carry with us. Imagine if you could just download a character or an ability from your game to your smartwatch, and then you could be playing with it, and then you send it back up to your game.
I think you never know. Maybe we'll be the first to say this. I doubt it, but what if we uncover Nintendo's secret plot here? Everybody's saying, Nintendo's thing was leaked out to smithereens, and everybody knows the jig is up, but Nintendo just may secretly be plotting for, like you said, bringing something from blast from the past that nobody expected to come around the corner. And it's like,
Maybe.
whoa. Nintendo, you surprised us, son. I mean,
Well, they
like,
never stop, do they? This is a big
mm,
company. Their Mario is their livelihood. They never stop working on Mario. They will
yeah,
always have a Mario game in production, but they take their time. You know, it'll
mm,
take years and years and years before the next one. I mean, we've had one mainstream Mario game on the Switch. We had Odyssey. Yeah, we had a few
mm,
others. Okay, we had Wonder and we had 3D World and whatnot, but that was a port, and then it had a spin-off game, but that was a small mini game. But it's because they were constantly trying new things. They're constantly pioneering it. And Mario is
exactly.
like, if it works for Mario, then everyone else is like, whoa, they got it. They made it work. But
Yes.
I think Mario has a pedigree that they put enough time and energy, practice into making the games work. It's like that legend in the story of when they were developing Mario 64. And for the first year, there was no world. It was just Mario in a white room, like an empty blank environment. All they did was focus on the movement because they knew he had to be able to move 3D and it had to feel natural and effective and fluid and responsive. He had to be able to do whatever they want. And they're like, oh yeah, let's add a wall jump, double wall jump, backflip onto a wall jump into a cover the hat. And what they just practiced and practiced and practiced to get it
Um,
feel right. And then they're like,
yeah.
okay, he feels good. Now let's put stuff in the game.
I really
And
wish
I
I was
think
there is making that with them in a hyperbolic time chamber of Mario. It's like, oh man, what that would be such a great moment. But
they're
yeah,
doing
that's
good.
how it works. Yeah, bloody hell, man. So that was a great video. And now that being said, people, I'm sure somebody wondering about this direct. Yeah, then what do we do? Are we the next direct next time?
Well, the direct that they've done with the mini direct, we will next week we will touch on it. We will go over it. People have been dissecting it for weeks now, so there's little we can say that hasn't already been said. But the big direct, the Nintendo Switch 2 direct, is dropping in a month and a half. The start of April. So month and a half, we've had a teaser like, oh, this is a thing. They just announced, yo, the Switch 2 is a thing. Here's what it looks like, and here's just a little a sly, quiet drop of the new Mario Kart. But people have tore that thing to shreds. So we'll watch it. We'll throw our own thoughts out next week. But I think that the big we should be there. I would like to do a live viewing of the Switch 2 Direct because that's going to be the big
Yeah,
one.
man.
That's going to be the one we got to we got to talk about that because let's get ahead of it. And that, when it drops, man, I'm looking forward to it. I'm also excited that recently they've announced the release date for the remake of Metal Gear Solid 3. That's going to be August. And man, I am there like day one. That looks so good. It's seriously, even if you're not a Metal Gear Solid fan, if you
Mm.
don't know the lore or the story, just watch the trailer. It is a beautiful looking game. And you're like, oh God, yes, yes, all of that, all of it in my face.
Bro, I got to see that. Wait, all right, next week, man, we'll jump into it nice and early. And oh man, please, that movie done review is still requested.
Still in the works.
Um,
I say, I'm in the place now, settled.
yeah,
So it's coming there.
yeah,
Right.
man. Oh, well, yeah, if let's say in your new area, there may be a big game center that's near, it's not too far from the train station, the main station. Yeah, it's called Gigo, Gigo. And right next to it,
Jojo.
there's another, there's like a Taito game center right opposite. And that's actually near a hotel where, or a restaurant where I propose. No, I get happy birthday. The first birthday gift to my now Mrs. So, precious memories, man.
Nice.
But yo,
Yeah, funny
yes.
story. My new place is his old place.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
officially the company a place, but it's just been passed hands, and it's my turn now.
much more,
So
man. This memories, man. Oh my god. So we're definitely gonna swing by with the missus and say, let's crack one open. So yo,
nice. Right, with
so
that, I'll see you next week. All you happy people, remember to like, share, and subscribe because we have to say that because apparently it matters.
yes,
But
definitely.
we'll see you soon. Maybe Dan will be up soon. Peace.
Peace, people.